We're
Ta-da!
back! Ta-da! We're
Here it
back!
is.
We're back! Here it is!
Back from a week of vacay.
Back from a week of vacay. Monty, it was good, man.
Oh,
Had a great
well,
vacay.
that's cool. That's what it's for.
That's what it's for. Had a great time with family.
Awesome.
But it's
Awesome.
great to be back on Get Found.
And be seen.
That's right. That's right. And Monty, I'm excited to be here, man. I'm
Me too.
excited.
Me too.
So
We're going to
excited.
talk about something that you are an expert at.
Me? Moi?
You. You.
Okay. All
You
right.
you are the confident video star. And we're going to talk
Yes.
about videos.
Videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go. I
Figured
love it.
we could start out with just talking about some of those simple and easy tools, how to get started. Some folks are a little bit intimidated by getting on camera, getting on video, whether it's live, even recording.
Right.
But it makes it a little easier when you have the right tools. So what do
Right.
you use?
What kind of tool? Well, that might be a loaded question. I use a lot of tools because it's just fun. But I realize I don't need a lot of tools. So as far as simplicity, I gotta have my phone. I gotta have my phone. I have a Galaxy Ultra 22, but for doing stuff like this, I use an iPhone 11. And I'm not sure if I ever told you, but I kind of set it up in a cool way. As opposed to using a webcam, I use my iPhone as my webcam. Ooh,
Wow,
little
that's interesting.
little hack right there.
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's clear. It helps out with my lighting, and I just love using it. So that's my go-to camera. My Galaxy camera is on my phone is fantastic as well. But as far as doing lives and stuff like that, that is what I use.
Interesting. So when you use your phone, is it like a webcam as far as hooking up to your other technologies you use?
Right, right. It is because what happened was I was looking for my movement class. I was looking for a webcam. I was like, I need a webcam. Oh my gosh! I think it was during the ending part of the pandemic, and I was just like, man, these webcams are expensive. I didn't want to spend a lot of money for a webcam that I knew it wouldn't be great quality. I was like, that ain't gonna happen.
Right.
But so I started doing some research on YouTube, and I saw a couple people talking about different softwares that you can use that could connect to your phone. And I was like, ooh, I'm all about the phone because I take that everywhere with me. So that just makes sense. So got on, got my software, and then boom. And then later on, I got this particular software I got stuck with. It just wasn't talking to my devices. All the technical difficulties that you can have. It
Oh yeah.
wasn't working. Things were freezing. And then I found out if I have a MacBook, I could just connect via FaceTime via my iPhone and make that a webcam. I was like, what? Let's go.
Interesting. So the MacBook really though is a key feature for that to make it happen smoothly.
Smoothly, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you use like there's a software called iRiun, IRIUN, and you can use that software with a PC, desktop, whatever type of computer, and you can use it with an Android or iPhone.
Cool.
Yeah. But this feature with the FaceTime and the iPhone, I'm like, I'm all there. I love it. Let's go.
Right. So you found what was easiest for you because
Right.
of the technologies you were familiar with and the
Right.
resources that you had available to you.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not about necessarily going out and buying a bunch of stuff to make it happen. It's about finding what do I already have and what's convenient and easy for me. I don't want
Right.
myself. I don't want to go buy an expensive webcam. I've got to read through a manual and figure out how to use it and all the adjustments. The phone has all those light adjustments and stuff right on it. So that's a nice and simple way to do it.
Right. Because as you go online, and for those who want to be content creators and even promoting your business online and things like that, if you look on YouTube, it's a great thing. It's a double-edged sword because it's a great thing. You can find a lot of information, but there are some things where people are going deeper into their technology with what they're using, and that can throw you off and feed into your imposter syndrome if you're struggling with imposter syndrome.
Sure.
So simple, easy is the best way to go. And if you want to upgrade, you could always upgrade whenever you want. You don't have to do it when someone tells you to do it. You can do it whatever you want, you know?
And you don't have to pick one thing either. So if
Right.
you say, "Hey, I got this phone and I'm using it for my webcam," that's great because you can take it places so that you can record elsewhere. But if you like
Right.
to have a studio setup, I have a webcam stationary setup for that. So that way I don't have
Right.
to try and reconfigure anything when I'm coming back into my office or into my recording studio.
Right. You just step into your space. And that's a good thing. My wife always says it's good to have options.
Yes, absolutely. Because and with options too, because that way when your phone suddenly isn't working or it goes into an update, like I didn't ask for that, but here it is. But I got to go live right now. It's like, okay, well, use a different phone, use a different camera.
Right. And that's happened to me too. About to go
I'm sure.
live. Here we go. And then, bloop, oh, we're updating now. Crash and burn.
Yes. Yes, the infamous updates.
The infamous updates. So, but that's what I use. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I got to say, Monty, I was talking to a friend, a great friend of mine week before I came from vacation, week before last. And I said, I love going online. One of my purposes with going online, that's free TV, Monty. He's like, what do you mean? Like, if I say something like that, it's like, what do you mean by that, Carl? But I could go on as opposed to going on channel 4 or whatever channel I have in my area. I want to do that. That's a good thing. But I can go online at any time I want. And that's my TV. I can give good value, good content, and service people. That blows my mind.
And it's a little more accessible because you can just tell someone, you can email them, you can text them, you can just tell them flat out, here's where you find it, and they can go watch it anytime.
Right. And Monty, and I laugh at this too. I like telling people this too. I'm like, most of us go to the bathroom with our phones. Some of us used to have TVs in our bathrooms if we're taking a bath or whatever. I'm hanging on the wall. But we have our TV, we have our phones with us even when we go to the bathroom. So what better platform to go on than on social media, online?
Yep.
That's the way I think about it. So I think it's a win-win.
Sure. Sure. So that's talking about like some of the equipment. What about
Hmm.
some of the software involved? Because you can't just hook up a phone and turn it on and it goes where you want it to go. You got to do stuff. So what are your
Right.
go-to software?
Right. Yes, and please don't do that, y'all, because basically you're gonna be frustrated. My go-to software, I love, my first one is StreamYard. And for me, as a content creator on video and doing video, I like to explore different ones. So I'm always researching different ones. But I love StreamYard because you can go live with it. We're on StreamYard, just to let you all know. And we're not endorsed by them, but we're just letting you know the information. And I love StreamYard because you can go live and you can go on multiple platforms at the same time. So if I go online and we say, hey, Monty, let's do a podcast. And one of the platforms, we got to use StreamYard. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we could get on Facebook, we could get on YouTube, we could get on LinkedIn, whichever ones we want to get on, all at the same time. So I am a huge fan of that because what a great productivity tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So, and then I also, well, that's one of them. I just gave you one.
Right.
I know I said all that for one. And then so you can tell it's my favorite one. And then there's also Zoom. Zoom's, a lot of people talk about, even during the end of pandemic, I'm tired of Zoom. I'm exhausted from Zoom. I'm like, I love Zoom because there is so much that can be done with Zoom. You can have meetings, you can do trainings. You can do trainings with StreamYard too, by the way. You can do webinars. There's so many things you could do. Even if you want to practice video and you don't feel confident being on camera, you can just do a Zoom session. You could do a Zoom. Check this out. You ready for this, Monty? You could do a Zoom power hour.
Mm,
Woo! A Zoom power hour where you knock out content for an hour, batch out content, right? You have to get it edited, of course, but that's a great way to put out content and do videos. And then do the editing on the back end or pass it off to an editor on the back end. So those are two tools I love. Also, so if you want to do editing too, there's also Camtasia. I mean, I was using a program called Final Cut Pro, which is that's a great software to use. I'm like, man, this is too complicated. I gotta put my kids to bed. I gotta get something to eat. I gotta get ready to dance. I gotta go get ready to perform since I'm still performing. I ain't got no time for that. So, but if I use Camtasia is easy to use. There's a little learning curve behind it, but once you get used to it, you could do editing right off the bat. I've been at live events, Monty, and I've done editing right on the spot using Camtasia, whether it's for audio or video. And that, for me, that's blow away. And so that's my easy push button tool as well, Camtasia.
Yeah, I like Camtasia. It's super powerful. It does have the initial cost. So for some
Right.
people, that initial cost up front's kind of an obstacle. But
Right.
I was using OBS, Open Broadcasting
Hmm.
Studios, and
Love it.
another editing tool called OpenShot.
Open shot.
And
Hmm.
just
Love it.
simple stuff, not to do major editing, but just to clip the ends and
Right.
and maybe take something out in the middle and have a transition or something like that.
Right.
And so those worked great. Camtasia is much more powerful. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that you mentioned a little learning curve, but no more than any other piece of software that you would purchase, and you can record your screen
Right.
and you can edit videos. So it's got dual purpose.
Dual purpose. And I do most of my editing 98%, Monty. No, 99% of my editing through Camtasia. It's just I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Also, though, there's an alternative. You mentioned free. I mean, it's the price, right? There's also Loom.
Oh
Loom's
yeah.
somewhat like Camtasia, and there's a free version of Loom, I believe, as well.
Right.
I
Right.
tried it. Yeah, I tried it a little bit out. I thought it was great, but I'm like, well, Camtasia's my. I gravitated back towards that,
Sure.
but it's a
Sure.
good one to use as well.
It's a good example. Camtasia is a good example of a resource that's worth paying for,
Right.
because it's nice. It's one initial cost, and then the annual parts like 60 or $70. It's nothing major.
Right.
So as I did hesitate at first because it's like, man, that's like $300 or $400. I don't remember how much it was to get into it, but
Right.
then using it, so I got all these different editing things and adding music in and soundtracks and
Right.
combining videos together, and then also being able to record your a voiceover,
Right.
right there on the video things. So
Right.
those are all great tools depending on what you're doing.
Right. Depending on what you're doing, and and I love that you said that, Monty, because some people feel like, and I know I felt like this too, getting into the space. I've been doing business for a long time, and even in the early 2000s, I've done online business, but I had people helping me out. I outsourced certain things to different people. But it's kind of, sometimes you can get into a space and think, I got to do this, I got to do everything myself. And you don't have to do everything yourself. If you do, you could burn yourself out. I just got geeked out. I geeked out about doing multiple things like the video editing, because coming from an entertainment background, I'm using all of the experiences I've used for 33 years, or I've learned for 33 years, and I'm applying a lot of it myself. And I kind of put myself into a director space. So it works for me. But if it's someone just getting into business or just trying to get your brand out online, don't feel like you need to do everything. But if you're passionate about trying it out, by all means, go for it. Try it out, or outsource it to someone.
And keep in mind that, when you're first getting started, you don't need to have, Paramount picture quality stuff. You don't need to have movie quality, entertainment. It's if you have value and you can get it out, it doesn't matter if your background isn't perfect. It doesn't matter if you have a
Right.
slightly fuzzy screen. It doesn't matter if
Right.
you stumbled through your words a few times. You'll get better.
Right.
Start putting it out there so you have practice.
Right. That's true. Just getting on out there. And I think about this too, and I tell people this too, Monty. There are millionaires whose videos, they don't look good at all. They look terrible. But they get the content out there to help people get results. Because at the end of the day, your client wants results. That's what they want.
Yep. They don't care how good you look.
Right.
Yep.
David. Hey, what's up, David?
Hey, thanks for joining.
David, thanks for joining us. David said, I love Camtasia. Been using it for years. I love it. David, what do you love the best about Camtasia? Curious.
Yeah, he was telling me about. He's one of the people that got me to look into Camtasia.
Oh, really? Nice. Nice.
Audio is a big factor.
Yeah, that's true. Audio is a big factor. And that's great that he mentioned that too, because Monty, as you notice, I have a microphone, or I don't have to use a microphone depending on how my laptop is. But also the way my room is set up, I have it with my artist background. I have more of a black box feel, which absorbs the sound. So even if I didn't have a microphone, that helps out. Or I could be in a space where it's not too echoey. Like where you're at, Monty, it's not too echoey. That's good. Your audio is great.
Which it's surprising. I've got a fairly empty room, but
Yep.
I got a decent microphone, and
Gotcha.
I just keep it slightly out of range there.
Ah.
Just a little snowball Yeti, and
Mhm.
it works real well.
Right.
So again, you don't need to invest hundreds of dollars. This was another $60 or $70 item just to get me going, because
Right.
admitted, a webcam microphone sounds echoey and tinny. So, but if that's
Right.
all you have, use it until you
Right.
get something better.
Right.
Yeah, that's a perfect excuse. People would use that. Oh, I don't have good equipment. I don't have good sound. I don't have good video.
Yeah.
I can't go on. I can't do it.
Right.
No, no, no. As long as they
It's
can
true.
hear you and vaguely see you.
That's true. David says I use it for demos for affiliate marketing. Nice. That's smart.
Yep.
That's really cool. I bet you geek out with that because it's just once you're going, you just keep going with it. Once you have the hang of it too, that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool. That's pretty cool. And then happy Labor Day, by the way, everyone. Happy Labor Day. Hope you're
Yes.
enjoying your day.
I've always celebrated Labor Day by laboring. I just thought it was interesting. I see the
Mm,
concept. I just look at
yep.
it from a different view. It's rather than celebrating all of these people that have made our country what it is
Right.
by taking the day off, I celebrate by adding more value.
Right. Right. Add more value. That's what we're doing right here too. We're
Absolutely. That's
helping
why
people
I
to
came in.
get found and be seen.
We could have taken the day off. We could have said, "Oh, it's Labor Day. I'm going to take a day off." Nope. Oh yeah.
David, I hear you. Hopefully.
Yes, sir. There's no hope. It's happening.
It's
It's
happening. David,
happening.
it's happening.
Yes,
We're
sir.
just we're just waiting, right?
Mostly patiently.
Mostly patiently.
There's a little bit of chomping.
A little bit of chomping. I know I have to catch up. Once I catch up though, I'm gonna get more impatient maybe. Well, hopefully not.
So let's see here. We talked about Zoom and Camtasia. Is there any other type of tools that you use or think would be a good addition to somebody's tool chest?
Absolutely. So we talked about those. I talked about the microphone as well. Also, you might be somewhere where you're at an event, a live event or a convention or what have you, and or just outside on the walk, and you're walking and you're just using your phone. You can use a selfie stick. Some people have that. Like, do we say selfie stick anymore? I kind of feel old school with that now, but it still works, right? So I use that. But also, if you can use a lapel mic that you could connect onto your phone and you can speak through that with the soft sponge at the end. Because what happens is sometimes when people speak outside, the wind's blowing and it's blowing against your phone, and when someone's speaking, you can't be heard. You can't hear them. So what I suggest is to have a lapel mic that you can connect and you can put onto your shirt and you can speak through that as well. And you don't have to go live. You can go live. You don't have to go live. And by the way, we talked about StreamYard. You can go live on any of the social media platforms pretty much, except for LinkedIn. You can do live on Instagram. The TikTok it depends on how many followers you have. You can do lives on Facebook, but you don't have to even do that. You can do pre-record a video and then upload it onto a social media platform. But when you record yourself, when you go on a camera, if you're out at a certain particular spot, you can use that lapel mic and film yourself. And then that way you can be heard well and you can deliver that value to your customers.
Yeah, that windbreak is definitely important. You see videos a lot going through YouTube, and people just have their phone and they're walking around, and you can tell, oh, when they turn a certain way, the wind's going right across that microphone, and I can't hear a thing they're saying.
Right. Oh, I have another gadget too, Monty.
Ooh,
It's
gadget.
funny. I have it in my backpack. And I have to have little ninja things because usually I'm on a go with my movement. Like, and as an artist, sometimes I'm freestyling. I'm doing something on the off the cuff, and so I have this device right here where it has a little grip, and so I can put my phone horizontally, and I can talk like this, and it makes it stable. Because sometimes if people just hold their phones like this, they're talking and it's shaky, and then the screen's
Sure.
shaking. It's just hard to see the person and understand them, and there's a disconnect in your communication. So it's
Distracting.
important to have something like that. And these things on, this is just it's distracting, So you see what I did just there? I guess
You,
that was a
you,
freestyle.
you fell down looking good.
I fell down looking good. So I can use it and it makes it more stable for me. So you could get something like this on Amazon for, maybe under $20.
I've
You
seen
know,
I can't remember who, but somebody had one of those, and it and extends and turns into an actual selfie stick too.
sweet. I love that. And that's
Yeah.
perfect. The more options you can have, the better. But again, you don't need them because when our imposter syndrome comes in, it's easy to make those as excuses for us not to go live or not to record or not to do something.
Yeah, but not not to change topic too much, but imposter syndrome.
Mm,
If you're feeling imposter syndrome because you're like, oh, I've got this equipment and these people have all this great equipment, remember, you're on the journey to get there,
right,
but you're helping people go from the journey from where you were to where you're at now. You're not trying to help people get someplace you haven't been.
right,
So if you're trying to help people get someplace you haven't been, then you're really going to feel like an imposter.
right.
So if you start feeling that, just remember, hey, whoa, I'm looking too far into the future. That's where I'm going, not where I've been. So that's
Right.
my take on imposter syndrome, because I get it all the time.
David says exactly. As my son would say, facts.
Facts.
Facts. Ain't that the truth?
That's awesome.
It's true because and I love that we talk about that because that's something that people talk about a lot, but I think it's important to understand. Even for us, we're going online, we struggle with that at times, and one of our goals is to be able to share that. Whenever we feel that, we want to share that journey with you so that we can relate and identify with you, and that hopefully will give you freedom to go live and express yourself and communicate your brand.
And some extra motivation. Hey,
Right on.
that money guy can do it.
Right. Right. You only have to be 2 steps ahead. That's right.
Yep. You can get away with 1 step ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better to be 2, less stressful.
Right? Did you see that movie, Catch Me If You Can?
No, but I
You heard about it?
recognize the premise of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if you heard, like, I know in the ClickFunnels circle, in different circles, they talk about what happened, what he did, what the character, what the real person did, that he went to, he taught at Brigham Young University. I think it's for a whole semester or something like that.
Right. Right. And just read the chapter ahead. Yep.
Read the chapter ahead. He got through. It wasn't a great ending as a whole because of that and other things.
Right.
Prince-
Right. But
Right.
that one premise right there, you can
That
take
one
that
premise.
and apply it to your own life and things, and making a new course. You don't have to make it, until you have people that want to take it.
Right. Hey, that rhymed.
That
you
did.
do
That
that on
was good.
purpose?
You don't have to
That
make
was-
it till you got people who want to take it.
Yeah, that's a good musician and a good poet too. There you go. See, we're creative. We're creative beings, y'all.
Right. It just comes out.
It just comes out. That's what we do. That's what we do.
So let's see, what else have we talked about some Zoom, we talked about some Camtasia,
Right.
we talked about some video editing and some other little
Right.
tools. Are there anything else that you would say would be a great advantage for someone just getting started?
That's a good question. I think I think those tools are really, really good. I think as far as the details, and the mechanics, part of it, a lot of it is psychologically, a lot of it's mentally, because even if you do have those tools, you got to set yourself up for success. So, here's a tool that's not a hard tool, but more so something that can help set you up for success mentally. Checklist, like that word
Indeed.
checklist. Woo!
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. And in
Checklist.
fact, that's what we should do. We should make a little checklist to give out to people for getting ready to do a live.
Ooh, maybe we could follow. Would you guys let us know in the comment area if you guys would like us to follow up with this podcast episode with a checklist? I
Yeah,
think it'd be awesome.
when you're going live, there's a few things that if you had a checklist, that then you wouldn't have to worry about remembering them, and they wouldn't be as intimidating because you already know it's just a thing. I just check it off. I'm done.
Right. And David says it's
Make
good to
sure
have a
to
plan.
record.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I've
Checklist.
had that exact one. Oh yeah, record. Is that important? Well, I guess if you want to have a replay, it is.
Right. David, check out the last 2, 3 episodes we did. we tried to go live.
When we started, we had
we didn't
10
hit
minutes
live.
in. Wasn't even recording.
Oh, we were on fire. We were on fire and no one heard us.
Oh well.
Oh man.
You learn from it. That and little things like, if you're working on a PC, sometimes it's good to know if you have any updates pending, so it doesn't try and update in the middle of your live.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So there's a lot of little things that can set you up for success before you even get started. Yeah. So that checklist idea is great.
Right. Hey, Parakita. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so that's what I think about, having a checklist and getting yourself in a good state. Here's another one that people probably wouldn't put as a tool, but part of your checklist, kind of going into the checklist, but I consider it a tool as well. Setting and then creating an environment for yourself. I'm a firm believer, with what we do, we're leaders. We're helping to create an environment for people to set themselves up for success so that they can get results with their businesses, right? But one thing is important is to be able to lead yourself. It's important to be able to create an environment for yourself. So I might, I'm in my spot, might get my water or beverage, or I had this morning I had some fruit, right? That's part of my lunch. And I got my music. I gotta have my Spotify. And I gotta play some music to get myself amped up, to get myself in a mood. Of course, an artist is going to tell you guys that, right? But get yourself in a mood so that you can be in the right mindset. Because when you take action, or if you don't take action and you're thinking about doing something, it's a lot harder to do it. But if you're already taking action, even if you don't feel like it, even if you haven't even fully thought about it, like put on music and just start moving, that already gets you into a state, right? And that helps your mindset. So guess how you're going to show up if you do something like that. Something, even if it's not music, something that's going to get you into a state to get you going. And that's something that could take 5 minutes, 3 minutes, or it could take 20 minutes.
Sure.
If you're thinking a lot about it. But if you get up and just do it and put it into your routine, guarantee you'll see results with that as well.
Yeah, I like to do, 3 or 4 pull-ups, 3 or 4 push-ups, to just get the blood pumping. Not a lot to like actually be working out, but
Right.
just enough to that I want to be excited. I want to have energy. Yeah. So get the blood pumping and get the fluids moving in your body. Helps the mind work. Helps the atmosphere. You're already active. So instead of being hi, I'm here to talk to you about this thing, you're like, hey, here we are. We're gonna do this stuff.
Boom.
That's right.
You could point. Oh, there you go. Nice. I saw what you did right there. I saw what you did right there. Nice. But it's important. And also what we're doing. What are we doing, Monty? You could sit down, but you could also stand up.
Yeah. I prefer to stand. I'm always moving around. That way I'm not getting stiff, and I'm not and the blood still flows.
The blood still flows.
When you sit down, you get a little sedimentary.
Right.
Although, you can be animated. You don't have to stand up to be animated. There's
Right.
plenty of people to sit down and move in their chair. So
Right.
there's not right and wrong. This is just what
Right.
worked for us.
It's what works for us. But you could explore with it or not. It's up to you. But that's something that really gets your energy going. And I know for me, I'm the type of person, even if I sit somewhere and if I'm listening to someone speak, you got me for 10 minutes. After that, my mind's racing. I'm about to fall asleep or I'm distracted. So I tend to like to do that. That's why I move my hands a lot. I try to be purposeful with it. But so yeah, I know you're talking about tool, but for me, in my mind, these count as tools because it's super important. So even if I have these tools on a checklist, I'm making it happen. And I'm gonna get better results that way.
And maybe we could identify them as resources.
Right.
Yeah.
Resources,
This is
tools,
something that can
resources.
help you. It's a resource.
It's a resource. That's it. It's a resource. So you could use it or not. You could also test it out and see if it works for you or not. That's the beautiful thing about it. Options.
Yep. Options. So along with that mindset and getting yourself ready, what do you think about the area that you're in?
Ah, the area that you're in. Now, there's a couple of ways to think about it because it's good to be in a good environment, an environment where you can feel comfortable at the end of the day, where you could be comfortable to express yourself. Reality with life, that doesn't always happen. So that's where the balance comes in, right? It's ideal if you can get that, but sometimes you might be in a car or walking in a park or like for me, this is my oasis. This is my man cave. Although I'm going to be sharing it with my wife. I'll tell you all about that in the future, near future. But this is my black box studio. I love producing things in here, and this is where I get my creative juices going. I also move in here and dance in here. So, but sometimes I'm going to a park or walking by the beach or something like that. So, use your creativity, but somewhere that's going to help you to be comfortable. Because if you're more comfortable, you can communicate better and be more free to explore communication with your audience.
Yep, definitely feeling comfortable. That's that getting yourself ready and getting your environment ready so that you can be
Right.
comfortable. But like you said, there's life. So maybe you are doing a speaking thing somewhere else. You're not in your zone. Or maybe you're out and about and you're like, hey, I want to do a live or I want to record in this great location because I'm
Right.
outdoors. Um, so just keeping that same concept in mind of okay, I have me and I have the stuff around me.
Right.
And so if I'm outside, I need to make sure that the sun is in the right spot so it's not reflecting off my glasses and it's not reflecting off the phone behind me and then just other little things to think about. It's like, well, who is going to be walking behind me? And is
Right.
that going to be distracting? Maybe I
Right.
want to move over here to the edge of the wharf so I have the water behind me instead of the boardwalk.
Right. Right.
And not say that that's a good or bad because
Right.
maybe you're talking about something and the people that are around you are part of the story, and so
Right.
therefore you would want them in there. But that's the considerations. That's the hey, there's the me part and then there's the surroundings part, whether I'm in my own universe or if I'm out and about or in somebody else's universe. If you go to somebody else's studio, which is less and less common because now we just do Zoom or
Right.
StreamYard or whatever, but there's still that possibility. Maybe you're going to go speak somewhere, speak at a school or a Eagles club or something of that nature, and then
Right.
you can take that same philosophy and say, okay, here's where I'm going to be. This is what's going to be behind me. Maybe I
Right.
need to move my little screen over so it's or just those little things to help you have that comfort zone.
Right. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Because, and then also with that too, one thing I think about, I think just when maybe my entertainment background is when I'm doing something, I'm out with or there's people around. It is good to be thoughtful and be mindful of that because I tend to think, well, I don't want a ton of people in my background because what if they're thinking about it as I'm using their likeness?
Mm,
For a lot of people, that may not happen, but that's just me. I play it on the safe side. So if I'm at a beach, hopefully I gotta face away. The sun has to be there and it has to be facing on me. It can't be behind me. It's like,
right.
it's just gonna mess, it's gonna distort things. but I'll try to have the water in back of me. That way, I don't have to worry about people. I'm try to have it close up if I can. That's
You're
one of
always
my
going to
go
get that
tos.
joker who sees that you're recording something, and so he's going to do something inappropriate.
Right, right. You might get that. And you also might get some people who they might just want to be in the background, like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
I'm cool with that. But what I'll tend to do sometimes too is say, hey, do you mind if I contact you just to get your approval? Just give them an email and say, hey, just want to make sure I can use your likeness, or make sure I won't say it like that, but just make sure that it's okay for you to be in this background for this video, something like that. Just to get their permission.
Right. So it doesn't come
Because
back on you.
so it doesn't come back on you some other time, because you just never know. People try to sue people for anything nowadays.
And with facial recognition stuff out there, it's actually fairly easy for those things to come up.
Right, right. And that's a whole other topic, right? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know. So those are the things I think of. But besides that, if the cool thing about it, on the flip side, the cool thing about it is that you can just record anywhere. There is you can record anywhere. Sometimes I might finish a class or workshop or a master class and say, hey, I just finished this. I'm putting out a video this week, by the way, by someone who's a marketer who gave me some sneakers, actually. And I'm gonna share about it, and I'm gonna give them a shout out, but I did it after my class. So, and then because sometimes you won't have time. You won't have time to do things because your schedule's packed. You got a lot going on. So you might just have to bang out that video right there. You might not have time. Life, like we talked about. So
I saw an interesting thing. This is a good tip, because you were talking about being heard and the audio quality.
right.
And I saw a video where the guy was in a industrial environment,
Ah,
and he just had his phone. So he didn't have any lapel mic or anything else. And so you couldn't understand anything he said.
mm,
But he realized that. And so he recorded the video the best that he could. And then he went back and he added subtitles. Now, of course, there's technology now. You upload a Zoom or use Zoom and you can get a transcription, off of that. And there's Otter.ai, and there's just all sorts of ways of getting a transcription. But if your
right.
video quality is poor, he didn't have the capability of having, so he literally just had to go in and he hand typed it all in. But it was important enough to him. And there's the thing. It's like, oh, now I'm going to have to go and re-record the whole video. No, you
Right.
have options. You
Right.
can record the whole video or
Right.
add some subtitles in. And interestingly enough, on social media, I don't know what the statistic is, but a large portion of people don't have their sound on.
Yeah, that's right.
They're on their phone and they're scrolling through stuff, and they're in some place where they don't want to have the sound going. So videos with subtitles have more view rates.
Right. And that's a good point. You talked about tools. That's a great point too. It's just like after your videos is recorded, the follow-up. How are you going to follow up and reach your audience? How are you going to maximize your output? So even when you ask about tools, that's a great point. I love that you said that. Transcriptions and making sure it's transcribed. And you could even cut your videos into shorts. Like, so with organic marketing, it's really hot right now. It's still hot. Although
Absolutely.
people are using other tactics or strategies and tactics, it's still hot right now. So you can shorten your video. So after you record a video, you can repurpose that video and cut it up into shorts. So you can use a software like a Opus.pro and cut them into shorts, and then you can use the text as well, like you mentioned. So that's true. Very, very true. Very, very important. And if you
That
don't,
Opus.pro is a great tool.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a great tool because it automatically puts a transcription of the segment that you're working with, and and you can edit it. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah, and
it
it's pretty impressive with the fact that it pulls out. You load a 5-minute video and it grabs a 1 minute or 2 minute section out of there, and knows until it gives it a title and all kinds of stuff. So that Opus.pro is a pretty pretty cool tool. And
Right. And
again,
it's
we have no connection. We just use it. It's cool.
we just use it. We have no connection. But it's really, those are some great tools that all the tools that we mentioned today were really, really great. But again, don't get caught up with the tools. Just make sure you take the action and get the video done.
And that's why there's so many tools. Is because some people find certain features better than others, and so therefore this tool is better than that tool for that
Right.
person. But in
Right.
another scenario, it could be flip-flopped or totally different.
Right.
So just
And
because
like,
someone is using a tool and saying it's the best thing on the planet doesn't mean that you have to use that tool.
right. It would be the best for them.
And
You know?
and therefore maybe a good reason to look into it,
Right.
but not necessarily a reason to just adopt it without even checking it.
Right. Got to check it out. And that's important. And that's why for what we do, and this is for any of us, it's important for us to have that curiosity. The curiosity is going to help us to be able to check out the tool and discover whether it's for us or not, and not get caught up because it's so easy to get caught up with the tools and say, it's not working for me. Forget it. I give up. As opposed to, this doesn't work for me. Let me try this, because at the end of the day, we got to move fast. We got to keep moving to get our content out there. So that is a great example. I use another one. I forgot the name of it. I think it was Vidyo, VIDYO, something like that. .ai. And I thought it's a great software. It was a great software, but it wasn't the best for me. And so that's why I went to the Opus one. And so even with that one, I'm testing it out. So my goal is to test out a tool. If it doesn't work the best for me, I'm going to move on to another one, or do a mixture, or maybe as an editor, do my own editing. Sometimes that works best for me. Depends on what the content is.
Yep. And there's the balance of how much effort I want to put in and what kind of output that I want, And again,
Right.
there's that. Sometimes we get caught up in this, hey, I need an A grade movie for my 2-minute blog post. No,
Right.
you don't really need that. It's nice, and we get caught up too. We look on Facebook and you scroll through and you see these people that have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into stuff,
Right.
so that their advertisements look, super professional and super perfect. And then we get caught up with that imposter syndrome. Oh, my ad doesn't look anything like that. Nobody's going to click on it. It's like, no, you just get started, get your stuff out
Right.
there, and know that if you have achieved anything and gotten a result for yourself, that means
Right.
that there's someone else that you could help do that exact same thing.
Right. Oh, shiny.
Yeah.
David,
Squirrel.
that's classic right there. That's classic. Squirrel. Squirrel.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think we're all
Mm-hmm.
subject to that.
Oh, yeah, for the
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yeah, we're using StreamYard. And David, there's also another one we may test out pretty soon too. We'll keep you posted about that too, if you're interested. So it's just good to test out to see what works for you. This is a comfortable Cadillac, Eldorado, and we're kind of sitting comfortably in the car,
on the highway.
just cruising down the highway, right by the beach. That's why we use this.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I was really happy that you mentioned that, though, Monty. It's what we were just talking about. Again, I don't mean to be redundant, but just make sure that you don't get caught up with all the details, because at the end of the day, if you might find that you try something out, it doesn't work for you, or it's just too frustrating. Hire someone, hire it out, because you'd rather do that than not get your brand out there, not get your offer out there, and then not serve your audience. At the end of the day, your goal is to serve your audience.
Yep. That's that result. If you have a result, then you can help somebody. Even though
Right.
that if you look the other direction, you can look at all the thousands of people that are beyond you or that you couldn't help, and that's not going to do anyone any good.
Right. Very true. Cool. I'm heading this way too. You heading to StreamYard? Yeah, we're a fan. So,
Yeah, I
but
like
those are some tools. Yeah, I love it too. I think it's fantastic. I think it gets the job done. and you can geek out and have fun with it too. If you're like me, I like to do that. I want to keep that attitude because it's just fun.
Well, that's me in my study hall. When I'm doing, I fill in for someone and help them with a weekly class. When he's gone, I fill in and do this class a little bit. And when I first started, I just jumped on Zoom. I didn't know how to highlight someone or change who was up on the screen or anything. I just had a big gallery of people and I just talked. And then the next Zoom, I was like, oh, there's the spotlight thing. Okay, let me figure this out. And so I experimented with the spotlight thing for a little bit, and and it didn't look all that great. And when I looked at the replay, it's like, oh, I wish I would have. It could have been better. And instead of dwelling on that aspect, I said, oh, so next time I'll try this, and I'll highlight Carl and I'll highlight myself, and we'll see what it looks like on the screen. And I had grand delusions of setting this up ahead of time and experimenting and learning about it, but it didn't happen. And so I could have said, "Oh, I'm not ready. I can't do it."
Yeah.
Or we can do what I did, and I just jumped in and said, "Okay, here I'm doing this thing." And at the end, not one single person complained. I had a couple people say, "Hey, it'd help if you could do this." But
Mm.
that's great. That's
Right.
feedback. But
Right.
nobody said, "Gosh, Monty, your thing sucked," which is what
Right.
everybody's afraid of. That's that
Right.
imposter syndrome. That's that I don't want to get in front of people because they might judge me.
Right. Right. So true. We're afraid to be judged, but you get in there, you get it done. And, it's interesting because, like, as a coach, when I'm coaching people, I just love coaching people to help them move forward in their communication. But I'll niche down and focus on different industries, right? But when I'm coaching people, I'm helping them to be present. And with them being present, their presence can say so much to people. It can communicate so much to people. So when you're in the moment and you're communicating what you got to do or communicating what you got to communicate, that gives you so much freedom. And then you're able to be that instrument that you want to be. So we don't want to let any of this get in our way from having that goal.
Nope. Nope. Just keep plodding forward.
Right. Right. Well,
Well, we kind of once again diverged. I hear some people they say, "Oh, before I digress," it's like, no, we didn't digress. We just diverged. Digress suggests that we're lowering the value. We were just changing direction a little bit. So we're going to swing back around here, and let's
right.
let's let's keep it simple. Let's
Keep it
talk
simple.
about video tools and keeping it simple.
Right. So keeping it simple, boom, boom. Just start with those two things. If you're one who's trying to get online and you want to communicate to your audience what you need to communicate, if you need to just use your phone and one of these gadgets. You can get this on Amazon, and it's a stabilizer, so your hands won't be shaky. If you're like me, like as an artist, I'm steady with my voice, in my dancing, in my acting, in my modeling. That's it. Everything else, I can't play the drums because I'll be off beat. So I look at it like this: if I can't just hold a phone in my hand a lot of times, if I have to, I'll do it. But I'll have one of these bad boys to help me be stable and then communicate my message. Now if I could add this too, Monty, I'll have my phone. You can use it vertical because a lot of since with reels and TikToks and everything else, this is popular right now. This whole horizontal view. But here's a rule of thumb that I have. I do horror like for my clients, I say, look, film and horizontally because when that tactic of vertical goes out of style, which I believe it will at some point, you're gonna have to go back to this. And so, when I edit people's videos, I could edit it in a way that makes it more vertical. So I went into another lane right there. But that's important. So that's a side note. I believe it's good to do it horizontally, but if you need to do it vertically, and then you can do reels and stuff like that. Just start with that, and then upload it to YouTube or upload it to Facebook, wherever you need to upload it to. Make sure it's good and it makes sense. You don't want to just put up anything. But if you do a live too or something like that, it's fine. You don't need to worry about editing.
And I'd add on there to keep it simple. You don't even have to have a handheld thing. You can plan ahead a little bit. I propped my phone up on a tree
Mm,
and just made sure I got it to where I wanted to be. And then I just kind of stood so that I could be centered and did my thing. And then I had a perfectly still cameraman.
love it.
The
Camera
tree.
tree, cameraman.
Camera tree.
Well, if you use your imagination, it could be a cameraman right there.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, the phone and some sort of stand,
Right,
you know. And
right,
if you have to, you can ask a friend, ask someone else, hey, just hold this phone for me.
right. I mean, we do that when we go on vacation and stuff like that. We're asking people to hold our phone or whatever. We need to take pictures with our families or take a picture with a
You
friend.
gotta be careful
So,
with that though.
ah,
People like to walk off with those. So
oh, the phones?
yeah. Yeah, I've had that not happen to me, but to friends of mine. They went and they said, "Hey, can you take our picture?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." It's like, "Oh wait, I can't quite. Hey, hang on. Oh wait, just a second."
Whoa. I've never heard of that before.
And
Wow.
you would think, well, it's got a locator thing. I mean, it's got my phone number. It's got. Why would they want to do that? Well, they go and wipe it, and then they can reattach it to something else, or they take it apart for
Ah,
parts. I mean, there's just yeah.
right.
Anyway, that's once again diverging topics there, but keeping it
Different lane.
simple. I would keep it within family and friends as far as hold on to my
Right.
phone, my
Someone you could
600 to,
trust.
to $1,200 phone.
Right. Someone you can trust.
Yeah, but that's the idea. Is that again, you don't need fancy equipment. You don't need a fancy studio. You don't need fancy
Right.
anything. You just need something that works.
Right. That's true. That's true. So those are the things I'd say. I mean, there's other things that, that is good to know about, but start there. Sometimes we just need that encouragement to just start. And that's our goal.
Yep. Get some practice. Just keep doing it.
Right. And David says there's usually a stabilized setting. Ah, when doing videos
Well, I
to
know
remove
that
more shake.
YouTube, when you upload to YouTube, they have an anti-shake thing. So it doesn't
Yeah.
even, it's not even on your phone. But yeah, I do believe that there are apps and things for phones and for editing so that you can
Right.
get rid of shake.
Right. I love that. I think that's great. I'm one to use the gadget I talked about and say, okay, this because maybe it's me being controlling, but I'm more in control of that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So but it's something for me to explore with. I'm gonna explore that. I'm gonna try it out, David.
Well, the thing about holding on to it is that you can get that whole camera angle thing going on,
Right.
in close, and all kinds of stuff. So,
Right. And I say this too, though, also, which is very important, which I talk about in my community, the confident video star nation. You want to have your camera eye level because sometimes if you're too high, it looks like you're looking down on someone, and sometimes people could take that a certain way, like, "Oh, I'm better than you." In my mind, though, it reminds me of just being like a monster, like roar. So you don't want to have anything in your way of communicating to the other person on the other side. So try to keep it eye level, no matter what you use.
well, that'll be a whole topic unto itself sometime. We'll do a whole
Ah,
how to look good.
right. I love how to look good. How to look good falling down. How to look good on camera.
Yeah.
Standard setting on Samsungs. David. I take it you have a Samsung. Yes.
I'm old school. I'm on an
Old school.
i7.
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 Making it work.
It works fine. I've admitted in the last couple of months though that I need to re-up before it breaks rather than waiting until it breaks. But I'm one of those. It's
Yeah.
like it works. Keep it simple. I don't need the new fancy stuff. There's nothing
Right.
on those that I need that I'm like, oh, I wish my phone had that.
Right.
Other than maybe some more storage now that I filled it up. But
Right. That's true. But yeah, keep it simple. You don't need to overstimulate your brain. It's just more to think about. Keep it simple. Get the task done.
because you'll get
Get it
there. Once
right.
you get comfortable, then you won't want it simple as much. But for now, simple is good.
Simple is good. Good stuff, Monty. Love it. I
Awesome.
love that topic today.
Yeah. Did it good.
Did it good. And I love the keep it simple portion.
Yeah. Yeah. We forgot that on that last one. So tack it on this one and make sure we make that a thing.
Right on. So Monty,
Cool.
do you have a question for me, or do I have a question?
I don't know. Do you have a question? That's my
Do I have a
question.
question? That's your question. Well, that's a good question because I do have a question. So Monty, if people want to find you, if they're like me or had experience like me where they're having a hard time getting their stuff online, getting their websites up, or even connected with someone who can help them because they're pulling their hairs out, like I have all my hair out like this. If they're pulling their hairs out, and they're and they're trying to get online, where can they go if they need to turn to someone?
If they would like to get a little help from me, they can check me out at montyarmstrong.com.
Right on,
I
Monty.
help with websites, domains, and other internet technologies when someone would like someone to walk through it with them and just give them a second opinion.
Love it. Love it.
And what
Highly
about
recommended.
if someone wants to become more confident in their video creation and on camera presence? Where should they go?
They can go to carlaleen.com. carlaleen.com. We have a great community, Confident Video Star Nation, and it's my passion to help people to get stronger in their presence so they can show up for their audience and serve them in the best way possible.
Excellent. Well,
Yes.
then, that wraps up this week, I think, very nicely. Nice and tidy.
Nice looking bow tie, too.
Yes, sir. Polka dots.
Polka dots. I love it.
Cool. Well, we'll do this again next week, eh?
Next week.
Awesome.
And you've been watching Get Found
And be seen.
Talk to you later.
Peace out.
Peace.